Hello everyone, welcome to this video where I'll show you how to bounce a ball off the wall. So let's start. Okay, let's start by creating our game scene. The game scene will include the ball and the walls, and we can create it by clicking on 2D scene here, and then rename it by using the F2 shortcut or by double clicking on it and call it game. And that's it basically. Just save it with Control S and choose the scenes folders. If you don't have a scenes folder, you can create one by clicking on create folder here. Make sure that it's called game, click on save, and that's it. You have a game scene. Okay, now that we have our game scene, let's create a ball. And we can create a ball by clicking on the plus sign here and choose a different type of node this time. So click on Control A and choose a character body 2D. And the reason we're going to use character body 2D is because we want to have a moving object, which is a ball, and want it also to collide with the walls that we'll later add. So character body 2D is perfect for this purpose. Let's click on create and you'll notice immediately that there is a warning sign. And this warning sign says that we're missing a collision shape. So we'll add a collision shape in a moment, but first let's add a sprite. And a sprite will be used to add an image of a ball. So it actually looks like a ball. Yes. So click on create. And you'll see here there is a texture field, and I've prepared a ball in advance, so I will use the ball I've created. And the way I'm going to do it is I have an assets directory, so I'm going to drag it here, the image of the ball. You can use any image of any ball you would like. Just make sure it's a small one, and then you can drag it easily here to the texture. And we'll basically, we have our ball. So click here on the 2D and you'll see it. Okay, this is our ball, perfect. And what we'll do now is we'll add the collision shape. The collision shape will actually help us to define the collision parameter so our ball can collide with the walls that we'll add. So click on the character body 2D, Control A again, and this time choose collision shape 2D. So click on create. And again, warning sign, you have to define a shape for the collision shape 2D. Makes sense. So go to the shape on the right side and choose a new circle shape 2D. The reason we want to choose it is because our ball is a circle, right? And you'll notice that it created this blue circle, which is the collision parameter. We want it to cover our ball, right? So our ball collides precisely with the walls. So what we'll do, you see here, this small circle, we'll just drag it until it covers our ball perfectly. Nice. And that's it. We have our ball. It doesn't do much now, right? So it doesn't move or collide or anything like that. But we have a ball, which is already quite a lot. So let's save it in a scenes folder. Let's call it ball. And actually before that, sorry, click on cancel, modify it, rename it by calling it ball. Great. So once again, click on Control S to save, and this time it's a ball. Let's save. We have our ball scene. Okay, so we have our ball scene, but if you'll click on play, you'll notice that we don't see anything. And the reason is because we are running our game scene. And our game scene right now is empty. It doesn't have anything, and then including the ball that we just created. So let's add the scene ball. And the way we'll do it is by clicking here on this chain icon, and we'll choose the ball. And once added the ball, if I'll click on play, you'll see that I can see the ball, but I can see it in the corner. And the reason I see it there in the corner is because our screen starts here in this point and it goes right and down. So basically our screen size is all of this rectangle. And in the corner of this rectangle, we can see the ball. And that's the reason we only see part of it. Now, in order to fix that, we can go ahead and change the position of the ball by dragging it, but I prefer to actually do it with a script. So this will make it easier for you when you build projects, especially big projects. You won't be dragging objects and setting them in a very, let's say, manual way, but what you'll do is actually scripting most of your game. So let's do it in that way. Let's go back to our bowl scene and let's create a script. Now you do it by clicking on this icon here, and we'll create a script in the scripts folder. If you don't have it, you can create one or create it in any other folder you prefer. And we'll create a script called bowl, and let's click on create, and you'll see that it's almost empty. It just extends the character body 2D, which is the type of node of our bowl. And the first function we'll add is a function called ready. And ready is a function provided for us by Godot. It's a function that will be running every time the node is ready. Now, let's say you don't know what a certain function does. Let's say you see this in your code, in some code that you imported, and you are not sure what it does. The way to check it is clicking on the lookup symbol. And here you can have a full explanation on what this function does. So you can see this function is called every time the node is ready. Very useful function. Let's go back to the script. And sorry, this is our script. And the thing we'll have here is basically screen size. I want to know what is the screen size in order to set the position of the ball. And so again, I'll use an existing function called getViewPort and there I can access the size. So to get the size of the screen, this will return vector2 of the screen. Now I can print it, but before I'll be able to actually print it, I need to set a variable. Because right now I didn't define a variable and I already tried to define it. So let's have a variable called screen size, and screen size will be of type vector2, right? Okay, perfect. Now we have everything we need in order to get the screen size. So let's see if it works. Perfect. You can see we got the screen size. So this is our screen size, and we can now use it in order to set our ball. Now, how exactly are we going to set our ball? So that's very easy. What we're going to do is basically use position. Position is a variable already defined. It's part of the character body 2D, and it sets the position of the object. So now we can do something like this. So we can say, okay, we want to set it in exactly, let's say, the middle of the screen. So we can do something like this. Now, because this is vector 2, we need to make sure that we actually create an object of vector 2 this way. And now, if I'll press on play at this point, you will see that my ball is positioned exactly at the center. Now, there is another way to do it. I want to mention it. Instead of doing this long line with vector2, you could do it in the following way, which you may find more readable. So you could do something like position.x, and then do something like that. And again, for same for y. Now, some will find it more readable and will prefer it this way. Personally, I will go with this version. So again, we have the ball positioned in the middle. We can move to the next part. Okay, now we can start moving our ball. And in order to move our ball, we need a function that will do some processing every frame rate, right? And we can't use the ready function because, as we said, it's only used once when the node is ready. So we use another built-in function for that that is called physics process. Very useful for any physics processing you need to do on the object. In our case, we need to move it, and that's what we'll be using it for. And we'll also be using a function called move and collide. And move and collide is very useful because it will not only move the object, but it will also tell us if the ball hits some wall, so if there is some collision. Now, in order to move it, we'll use three variables. First one is direction. We want to move it in some direction. Then we want to also set some speed to the direction, right? So maybe we want to move it slowly, maybe we want to move it very quickly. And finally, we want to use the delta from the function, the one here, between the processing operations. So there we have it. And by the way, we can already set a variable where we'll save the result. to know if there was some collision. Actually, it's better to call it collision this way. And now, in order to have speed, let's set some initial speed, one that we can change in one place, and then it will affect our all calculations. So let's do it const. So this means no one can use it at any point in the program. And let's call it initial speed, and we'll say it's an integer, and let's say it will be 650. Now that we have this initial speed, we can set another speed, which will be variable, which will be changing, right? And say it's called speed, and here it won't have any value. Actually, you know what? We can do already initial speed this way. And now that we have our speed, we have delta, we are only missing the direction. Now, the way we will set our direction, we'll do something like this, and we'll say that we want some random direction. And this is a function that we'll write. So this is the first function that we defined from scratch, right? And it goes like this. And when you define a function, it's always best to say what you plan to return. So we plan to return vector2. So we need a vector2 to set our direction. This is what we'll return. And you can see our function doesn't get any arguments. And so let's define what exactly this function will do. So first of all, it will set some new direction. The direction can be any direction. Right now, let's make empty vector2. And then I'm sure, what direction I want to choose. Like, do I want to start, let's say, and let's talk right now only about the vertical direction. So I don't know if I want to go on the left side or on the right side. So I want it to be picked up randomly. And for that, I can do something like this. I can use the random function, and I can basically also tell it that I want to choose one of two directions. So one of these, and I can go and say, okay, pick up randomly which direction to take. If I wanted to go only on one direction, I could easily do just something like this, right? And let's already already return the new direction, so we don't have this warning. And we want it also normalized. We use it for the movement. And what is left is just to also choose, what direction we want to go in the Y position. So for the Y position, I'll do float random, and we'll choose it this way, right? And so we have everything we need in order to, oh, sorry, here's def. And this is me confusing syntax of other programming languages. Okay, and so we have this function, we're calling it here. This way we set the direction, and let's also make sure that we have a variable for that direction, like we did for other variables. And it's a vector2, right? And that's it, basically. We have everything set, and let's play and see if our ball moves. Yeah, that's amazing. So you saw that it moved on right side and also bottom. Now let's play it again. That was the same result. Let's try again. Well, so this time it was in a different direction, still bottom, but now it went up. So our ball moves in a random direction. And by the way, it always moves on the right side. Let's go and do random here. And let's say that it can go also on left side. So let's give it a try. Right side, right? Still right. And left side, finally, yes. Okay, nice. We have a ball. It's moving in random directions. We have everything we need in order to set up now the walls. And once we have the walls, we can also go and check for collision and make our ball move in a different direction. So let's move to the next part where where we'll set up the walls. Okay, so now that we have a ball moving in random direction, it's time to go ahead and add the walls. So for the walls, we'll create a separate scene. Let's create on the plus sign here. And this time we'll use something called static body 2D. And the reason we want to use static body 2D is because our wall is not going to move, right? It's going only to be used for detecting collision with the ball and then bouncing it back. So it's perfect for what we need. Let's click on create. And you'll notice there is a warning sign here. It says that we need a collision shape also for this type of node. And let's rename it quickly to walls. And now we can add each side of our walls to this type of node. So now we'll use what is called collision shape 2D. And this one, let's say it will be the top one. And we'll choose the shape. The shape is going to be rectangle because walls are rectangles in this case. Let's click on 2D. And this is how it looks like. So we're going to adjust it so it's going to be the wall here in the top. Now, don't worry, you don't need to be super precise. You can adjust it later if you did a mistake. And just notice that here, it doesn't matter what is the size, right? So because once the ball hits this rectangle from here, it will bounce back. So this can be, this size, for example. Okay, perfect. Now let's add also the others. Let's do it quickly. So this one, we'll call it left. And this one we'll call it right. Let's do the last one, which is going to be the bottom. Okay. Perfect. Now for each one of them, let's choose again the rectangle. And as you can see, it's pretty repeating operation. So you simply go and adjust each side. Perfect. Again, now this one is called right. So we'll simply drag it to the right and then we'll adjust it. Perfect. And let's do the last one, which is the bottom. Let's choose rectangle. Again, let's drag it down. And then we are done. We have our walls. They don't do much now, but the next step is going to be adding some collisions so we can bounce the ball back. Now let's save these scenes in our scenes folder. Let's call it walls. And we are basically done. Just don't forget to add it also to the game. So this way. Perfect. So now you have your ball, you have the walls, and we're done. Okay, we're now at the last part, and let's make the ball bounce off the wall. So in order to do that, let's go to the ball, let's click on script, and fortunately for us, we saved this information whether the ball collided with something, in our case, one of the sides, one of the walls, and let's check if there was a collision. So it's easy as that. We simply check if there is something in this variable which indicates there was a collision, and then we set the direction to be bounced, basically. So this way, and we just have to give it the normal. And that's it. Let's give it a try and see the result. And our ball is bouncing. Yeah. And it's important to note that if you would like to change the speed, so all you need to do is to change this value here. So let's say we want it to be much quicker, right? So you can see ball is bouncing and it is much quicker. And you can also have it much slower. So let's set this to 100. And you'll see it's almost, you may say, a floating effect. Where, if you want some things floating, you can definitely use this for that purpose as well. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.